Oh, I'm sorry. I can't come to the door right now. I'm afraid that in my weakened condition, I could take a nasty spill down the stairs and subject myself to further school absences. You can reach my parents at their places of business. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate your concern for my well being. Have a nice day.
I feel like that had to be a book reference or something like that.
Oh, no, it's from Ferris Bueller's Day
Oh, it
Off.
is? Oh, okay, that
Yes.
makes sense. That makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
that sounds like Ferris Bueller. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I have seen that movie. I'm not that uncultured.
Yeah, I watched
Just
it.
didn't pick it up.
I think in AP Human, our teacher, AP Human Geography for the uninitiated, our teacher was out, so we watched it. Great movie, by the way.
I watched it in film class. Good movie, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Gordie Howe.
Yes.
Um,
I found
oh,
it very weird how he was wearing a Gordie Howe jersey in the middle of Chicago.
yes, that's
But-
true. Did you see when Connor Bedard recreated the picture?
Oh my god, I did not see that.
Oh,
I have to
okay.
see that.
Let me pull it up. It is very cool. Ferris, there it is. Like, I can't say I'm the biggest hockey fan, like, just honestly, but stuff like this is really cool to me. Oh man, I can't. Bro, I just want to share my screen. Okay. For the uninitiated, I got a new
you got a new setup. Yeah, you got a new everything.
Yes,
all right, let's see it. There you go.
There we go.
Connor Bedard doing the
That's
thing.
just really cool, man. I love that.
Players doing pop culture references like that is really cool.
Also, the movie's older than Connor Bedard.
It is.
by like not an insignificant.
He's like, how old is he? Like 19, 20?
Yeah, I think he's 19. I think this is what, second year, right?
Yeah, this is year 2.
Okay. Yeah, because he's that is not who I wanted to look at. Connor Bedard. He is 19 still. He was Jack.
He was 18.
Jack. What? He was born July 17th, 2005.
We're old.
What? This man has scored 27 NHL goals before his 20th birthday. He will play 2 entire seasons before his 20th birthday.
That's insane.
Wow.
Nothing like a way to open up episode 103 of the Sports Dust than with a with an existential crisis. So
yes. Yeah, I feel quite old. Wildin', actually. Well, Jack, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I got my class over with finally. It's like done now. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Just focusing on whatever else comes next. So,
hey, I have a new laptop. Can edit videos.
Yes.
Okay.
That's always the new setup feeling is always a good one. Yes. Like I remember when I upgraded from like I started this show on a laptop, and it was a piece of crap. It was a total piece of crap.
Like that.
And then when I upgraded to a PC, like an actual PC, the tower and everything, it was like really cool. And then now I ended up getting a bigger desk with more monitors. So I'm just going berserk. I have 3 and I still want more. That's how crazy I am. All these decorations and stuff, like this new WWE belt that I got, the Rams mini helmet. There's a laptop under that stuff. I technically have a 4th screen. Technically a 5th because my phone's down here too. But
yeah, be like that.
Yeah, that's just how us nerds get. We like to have these big fancy PCs and stuff like that.
It do be like that. It do be like that. I think I'm good with the one screen. I get sensory overload, so I think having multiple screens is a little too much.
That's completely fair. Some people can handle it, others can. I'm not saying like, oh no, you can't handle it. It's just like sometimes people just prefer.
Yeah,
they have their different preferences. So.
Yeah. Like that. Well, we also have different preferences for football teams.
That we do.
Although my team lost this week, so I don't really have a preference for them, and they're on a bye this week. I got a question before we move into tier list. Is there a worse feeling than losing before you go into a bye?
Probably not. Probably not. I think it's the thing about football, and we've had this discussion before, is that when you lose a game, it hurts because it's not football is not like hockey or basketball or baseball,
especially baseball.
Yeah, if you lose a game, you can be like, oh shucks, well, you know what? They play tomorrow. They play in 2 days, so there's a chance you just get right back up and you get over it. You move on. Football, you gotta swallow it and deal with it for a week.
Yep. And if you have a bye,
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Oh man. And if you lose a playoff game, now granted this is across all sports, but in the NFL, you make one mistake, you have to think about it for 8 months.
Yeah.
At least in basketball, baseball, hockey, you get multiple tries, so you have to lose, like, you have to get whooped a little bit. Okay, like the Yankees, yeah, they have to wait, 4 months, 5 months to play another baseball game, but they lost 4 times, right?
Yeah.
The Ravens play one bad game, and they got to sit for 8 months, and at least for half of that, they're like, we got to go to Kansas
The Rams
City.
Against the Lions, they go 0 for 3 in the red zone. They come within a point of tying the game, and then no flag on PI.
That I will say that's a smidge rich coming from a certain Rams.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. We did win the Super Bowl not too long ago. I'll give you that.
Oh no, I was thinking of the Nickel Roby Coleman play, but
yes, that. Well, we lost that Super Bowl, so that's a wash.
That's
still the came back to bite us on that one, but yeah, no, you get the idea though. Like it's you still want to win them. You don't want to lose. You don't want to deal with the emotion of losing it. So it just sucks. Losing sucks.
Yeah,
as they say.
Yes. Well, some teams won, some teams lost. Let's break them down.
Let's do that. All right, here is
every team played.
Every tier list stands after. This was 2 weeks ago, so we have 2 weeks of games to cover. So,
Jack, before we move on, I have a trivia question for you.
Okay. Let me empty some teams from this.
Sure. Okay. Guess what happened in 1993 that has not happened in any other season in NFL history?
In 1993?
Yes, 1993 only. The rule came in for 1993. Everyone hated it. It was gone for 1994.
That sounds like the PI rule that was in 2019.
No.
No. I know it's not because that was a lot recent. Oh God, I can't think of it. I feel like I should know this one too, but I can't.
Hey, maybe you should. I did tweet it out on our. I did tweet it out yesterday.
You did? Oh yeah, sure. You were active on Twitter, so. I cannot think of it right now.
There were 2 buys for every team.
Two buys. Okay, yeah, I can see why people thought that was dumb.
Yep. So the Lions and Packers, this created a weird scheduling quirk that they played 5 times in 1994. So they played Week 18 of the 1993 season, which bled into January. Then they played in the wild card game in January of 1994. Then they played their 2 regular season games in the 1994 season. And then the wild card game of the 1994 playoffs was in December. So they played 5 times in a calendar year.
Yeah, I can see why you don't want to play that many games at that point. So
it'd be like that. And fun fact, that's more times than Tom Brady played the Cardinals, and Tom Brady played for basically 25 years.
Even in the NFC for a year or for a few years.
He played the Cardinals twice. Like he in 2008 when he didn't play, but the Patriots did. He was out with the ACL. And then in 2016, Garoppolo played because Brady was suspended. So Tom Brady in his 333 career starts had a whopping, I believe, 2 against the Cardinals. Maybe 3. Maybe he had an extra one. There we go. There's the Cardinals. In his entire career, he had 3 starts against the Cardinals. 2004, 2012, and 2022.
Crazy stuff.
That's bananas. That's bananas, yeah.
Okay. Let's dive in. I think we can start with the obvious. Detroit, number 1.
Yes.
I don't think there's really too much to debate in that regard. Mm-hmm. I think it's good too because the Lions, that was another close game. The Lions haven't really played a close game like they did last night against. I say last night. We're recording on Friday. After the Thursday night game against Green Bay, that was a good Thursday night football game. I had fun watching that.
And they had another close game against the Bears. Now, we could say they got a little lucky against the Bears, and perhaps that, showed some flaws in the armor, but that's a division game. It's a high emotion game on Thanksgiving. The Lions hadn't won on Thanksgiving in like 10 years. It felt like Dan Campbell had never won a game on Thanksgiving. And he's been their coach for quite a few years now. They were really good the last year, and even the year before that, they ended up turning around their season. They lost to Buffalo. But yeah, Detroit's the best team in the league. I will say they are approaching the critical mass on their defense of losing pieces.
That is very true. They've lost, like, as good as they are to figure out ways to win games like last night too. They have a lot of names that are out on that defense and are not coming back for the rest of the season. So, or at least not coming back for a few chunks of games or whatever it is. So you really have to start taking that into account, that if you lose another big name, then you have a problem that you have to worry about.
Like you're running out of really good players, and that's like, yes, the Lions are a deep team. The Lions have an exceptional offense and exceptional special teams, and having Dan Campbell as your coach gives you, in theory, extra margin on the win probability, because he's going to be ballsy and go for it and do these things that generally will work out for you, or mathematically will work out for you. But if your defense is losing pieces, that means your margin of error is smaller and smaller and smaller. And you've already lost Hutchinson, you've lost Anzalone, your secondary's been banged up what feels like the whole year. You got to have dudes back there. And they have dudes, but each week it feels like they're losing one or two. So they're number one for now. But I think we'll move the Bears up for instead of going to the Packers game, because the Packers game is for this week. So we'll, I guess, be consistent, go through last week's set.
That's true.
Unfortunately, Chicago, you're in maybe next year. It's just too long of a losing streak. You're 4-8. They are like sort of the inverse of the 2022 Vikings, that they lose every close game. They're close every week. It feels like they have a shot to beat San Francisco this week, but I don't trust them to come through. Matt Eberflus, see you later. Ben Johnson.
The clock management in that Thanksgiving game was appalling. Like, that was terrible. That any sane head coach uses a timeout in that situation. And I think it's also BS that the Bears decided to give that guy a press conference too, and then announce that he's fired. Like, that's not a very well-run organization in Chicago. So, yeah, maybe next year.
Yeah, maybe next year. Caleb has looked a lot better. I will say that. I know he's had his ebbs and flows here, but I saw a post. It was, I think, his stats versus CJ Stroud since the Stroud Caleb game, and he's been better than Stroud. Just saying. Although Stroud was awesome year one, now is struggling year two. Caleb hasn't even been to year two yet. So Chicago, you have your quarterback. I think you have your weapons. You have a lot of good pieces. You just gotta figure out some of this clock management stuff. This is straight out of the Chargers playbook.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's the kind of thing I would expect the Chargers to do under Brandon Staley too. Maybe not Jim Harbaugh, but
yeah,
under Brandon Staley.
Buffalo. I think you're number 2.
Yeah, Buffalo's number 2. This team is a juggernaut. They just clinched the AFC East again for the 5th year in a row.
Week 13, by the way.
After brutalizing the 49ers in the snow game. I find it funny that I saw some comments on Twitter that people were saying that, like, the 49ers might be benefited from a snow game because weather usually hurts the home team. And I'm sitting there going, you do know that this is in Buffalo. Like, they make this a part of their identity. They love the snow games in Buffalo.
Yeah.
And it showed.
And also, it's a California team. It's sort of like we have the shtick with Miami when they went into Kansas City, or when they go into Buffalo, or they go into Foxborough. It's like, okay, they're probably not winning. They're more of a finesse team. And I'm not saying the 49ers are a finesse team. Obviously, they're not. But like, Buffalo is not a finesse team either. Your quarterback is built like a truck, right? And he caught a touchdown, by the way, technically. Threw for a touchdown, caught a touchdown, and ran for a touchdown. And thank you, by the way. That won me a fantasy game.
Yeah, if you missed that play, he basically passed it to, I don't even remember who he passed.
It was Cooper, right?
Yeah, Amari Cooper. He passes to Amari Cooper, and then Amari Cooper was about to get tackled, and before he goes down, he laterals the ball back to Josh Allen. Allen takes it in the end zone, so he technically gets the receiving touchdown and the passing touchdown on that play, which is cool.
Yeah.
So
now do it in the playoffs, Bozo.
I know, right?
Which he does have a receiving touchdown in the playoffs.
I feel like that is something that people are still going to like hold the Bills accountable to, for lack of a better term, because it's like you have to see them beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. That still hasn't happened yet.
Right. Well, okay. From my perspective, people love to ignore that, but they love to point it out with Lamar. they love to do that. Well, they can't beat the Chiefs, so it doesn't matter. Well, the Bills can't beat the Chiefs in the playoffs either. So what are we talking about here? So
save it for the playoffs, guys.
Yeah, save it for the playoffs.
But yeah, no, Buffalo's a juggernaut. I, as a Rams fan, am very scared to play them this Sunday, but we'll see what happens. You never know, but my hopes are not very high. Yeah,
the Buffalo defense, by the way, very, very good. Josh Allen gets a lot of the headlines for a good reason. He's the MVP frontrunner for a good reason. But that defense, you thought you're going to lose pieces. You lose both safeties. But now the unit's playing like a top 10 defense in the NFL. And Damar Hamlin, by the way, leads all safeties, all AFC safeties in Pro Bowl votes. So good for him.
Yeah, there's probably good reason why that's the case, but it is a really good, like, feel-good story for Damar Hamlin. Absolutely. Because we thought this guy died on a football field a few years ago.
Yes, he did die on a football field. That was incredibly scary.
Yeah.
In lighter news, maybe we could do a midweek recording session, do our Pro Bowl ballots, something like that.
That'd be cool.
All right. Bills, they defeated the San Francisco 49 IRs.
Guess what?
Week. We're moving them down.
I'm moving them down to maybe next year.
Yeah, ahead of Chicago. But listen, man, it's been a series of unfortunate events for San Francisco. Feels like every position group has been whacked with injuries. Brock Purdy missed to start. McCaffrey's played like 3 games. Ayuk is out for the year. George Kittle does his George Kittle stuff. Trent Williams has missed time. Guys on the defensive line have missed time. Fred Warner's missed time. The secondary's been banged up, and it's one of those years from hell that every team has occasionally. The 2021 Ravens, I'll give you a Ravens example. The 2022 Rams, the Super Bowl hangover Rams.
Yeah, the Super Bowl hangover Rams.
Like some years it just doesn't work. And this year, unfortunately for the 49ers, it didn't work.
I need to find this graphic too. There's a hilarious graphic that CBS posted. Yeah, we're gonna pull up right now. How does this not sting if you're a Niners fan?
Yeah.
Top 3 in playoff wins since 2010, and every other team in the top 8 has taken home at least one Lombardi except for the 49ers.
That's wild.
That is brutal. Like, I don't understand how I can't tell you how brutal that is. And whether it's for reasons of like choking in the Super Bowl or for like
it's because of Patrick Mahomes. It's because of Patrick Mahomes.
That's fair enough.
And Joe Flacco.
But yeah, like you said, there's just some years the injury bug is too much to overcome. Rams dealt with it a couple of years ago. You've mentioned a few other teams, and this year it just happens to be the 49ers, and it very well could be the end of that window because guys need to get paid still, and there are guys being paid that are not doing enough. Like, I haven't seen Deebo Samuel really break any records or make any headlines this year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the kind of thing you would expect too with Ayuk out. Jawan Jennings is a solid receiver.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Kittle, he's been hurt on and off. Bosa, hurt on and off.
Yeah.
Trent Williams is basically their whole O-line.
Mm-hmm.
Been hurt on and off. I think he's out this week. I'm not saying the Bears will upset the 49ers here. That would still be an upset. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
But they have a more realistic chance than I think some people realize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and San Francisco is down to just a 10% chance to make the playoffs, according to NFL.com. 14% if they win. Credit where it's due there. The Bears are down below 1%. Even if they win, they're still below 1%. So it's just not your year, unfortunately. So speaking of it not being their year,
I'd say unfortunate, but I'm not a fan of that team. So.
Fair enough. It might be the year for the Kansas City Chiefs. They won again on Black Friday with some black magic. We need to talk about the Chiefs because I understand this is like the Nick Wright talking point, or they're 2-time defending Super Bowl champions, give them the benefit of the doubt. Sure. Most of the time, they are the one who knocks. They are the one making plays to win games. They are scoring touchdowns on last-minute drives to beat Carolina. They are making stops. They technically stopped Baltimore. They technically stopped Vegas. They stopped Denver. They actually blocked the field goal. I'll give them credit for that. Was it a fluky play? Like, yeah, not every field goal is going to get blocked, but they made the play. I will credit them there. I think they would have stopped Baltimore on the 2-point conversion, so I don't really care about the likely play. Fine. The Raiders bottled it themselves. Jackson Powers Johnson, JPJ, snapped the ball to an unaware Aiden O'Connell. The Chiefs did nothing on that play but recover the fumble. And recovering a fumble is kind of lucky in its own right. That's just how math works with an oblong football. So, are the Chiefs good? Yes. Are the Chiefs going to win the Super Bowl? They would be my pick to win it, yes. Will they? I don't know. Because it's January football. I know Patrick Mahomes is 15-3 in January. I understand. But the margin of error is really thin. They could get wrecked. It is, to me, on the table that the Chiefs go into a playoff game against Buffalo or against Baltimore. I might want to put Pittsburgh in this conversation.
Pittsburgh is a team that would find a way to do it too. Don't say them.
I don't know if Pittsburgh is capable of just whacking a team. They're capable of beating a team, yes. They have the same devil magic as the Chiefs. Buffalo and Baltimore, I think, could blow the doors off Kansas City. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they could, because they have the runaway freight train energy that Kansas City does not have. And Kansas City has not played against a runaway freight train since the Super Bowl 55 against Tampa. I guess the Bills kind of wreck them in the regular season at times, but it is on the table. The Chiefs get just walloped in a January football game, 28-7 or 42-14. I know the defense is excellent, but all it takes is, a bad pass, a tipped pick six. Pittsburgh got one of those against Kansas City in a playoff game, but they had it's like a picket start, so it didn't matter. It didn't matter that the Steelers got out to a lead. It's okay, cool. So it's on the table. They get wrecked. They lost a playoff game by 22 in the Patrick Mahomes era. But
do you think they make the AFC title game?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say that's a bit more likely. Patrick Mahomes has never missed the AFC title game. So.
Yeah, the Chiefs should win out. Should be 16-1. The Bills are right on their tails, so you can't rest your guys. And the Bills, of course, beat them head-to-head, so you need to win out. And the Bills should probably win out in their own right. So 16-1 Chiefs, 15-2 Bills. I think that looks like your AFC title game, unless Cincinnati makes the 7 seed. So who knows?
Who the hell knows? That's
all right. So
about football.
Chiefs played the Raiders. Raiders bottom tier, absolute bottom of the barrel. They're out of the playoffs. They're the worst team at football.
Not much else needing to be said there.
Well, the Giants and Raiders are either one of them the worst team in football.
Yeah.
But Aiden O'Connell kind of made some plays, but unfortunately Daniel Carlson pooped his pants, so it didn't matter.
A lot of kickers have been pooping their pants this year.
Yeah. Oh God.
I know you have been.
Look who's coming up next, buddy. Philadelphia. Congratulations, Philadelphia. I think you deserve to be in the Super Bowl contenders tier.
I agree. I saw them in person. It was ugly. It was stupid. Congratulations, Eagles fans. You can spell. You have basic spelling ability. The amount of freaking EAG. Oh, I didn't even spell it right. There you go. EAGLES. I can't do basic spelling.
Jack, I don't know what kindergarten you went to, but gel is not a letter.
EA Joes. Yeah. No, they're just
during that. That was too funny.
Yeah. When I saw that game in person, it was all right, the Eagles are just on another tier. That's just what it is, and they proved that again the previous week as well, because Saquon Barkley, having Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts and AJ Brown in the same offense, even without Devontae Smith, is kind of stacked.
Mm-hmm.
So Mitchell looks pretty solid too.
Mitchell's been unbelievable. The secondary, Vic Fangio, good job, buddy. Howie Roseman, good job, buddy. The linebacker core, excellent. This is an excellent defense. Excellent defense. The pass rush, is not quite as good as like the 2017 team or those years that they had like 60 sacks a year, like the Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, not Barwin. What's the guy out of he's a top 15. Derek Barnett. He was one of the rotational guys. It's not quite as good as that group, but the linebackers are excellent. Zach Bond, if we made an all-pro team and Zach Bond is not your all-pro one, you have missed the plot. You have entirely missed the plot. We can argue other positions. We can argue, quarterback. We can argue running back if you really, really want to. I think it's Saquon at this point. You can argue running back. We are not arguing Zach Bond at linebacker. He's been magnificent. He's been transcendent this season. This reminds me a lot of the Devondre Campbell season that he had his first year in Green Bay, that it's just inexplicable. I don't know how long it continues, but he's been phenomenal. He was excellent again on Sunday against Baltimore. In the secondary, DeJean, Mitchell, the safeties have been balling out. Blankenship got banged up in the game against Baltimore, but they hit on both rookie corners. That is practically impossible to do with how difficult it is to transition at corner this season. Heck, look at Sauce up in New York. He's the best corner in football, and he's having a rough season. Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean have come in and not missed a single beat. They've been elite this season, so props to the Eagles.
Props indeed. I hated what you did to me a couple of Sundays ago, but props.
Now, I hate what you did to me last Sunday. I have a hot take, Jack. I have a hot take. Baltimore is still good at football.
I don't think that's a hot take. I agree. Okay. I can agree.
You should have seen the backlash in some of the Ravens channels that I'm in. It's like, this team sucks. They should fire Harbaugh. They should fire Eric DeCosta. Dude, they should draft a quarterback.
I get that from Rams fans all the time. I'm in so many group chats, so many Discord servers, wherever it may possibly be, and people are constantly calling for Sean McVay, or not even Sean McVay. Actually, yeah, sometimes Sean McVay.
Yeah.
People are wanting Stafford to get traded. People are like, do you not realize how much worse it would be without these guys?
Mm-hmm.
Like, seriously. Yep. Where do you want the Ravens?
I think they are in this like weird realm between Super Bowl contenders and playoff contenders. Like they're like an A- or B+. I think that 4 teams ahead of them are A's, clearly A's. The Lions are an A+. The Ravens are either an A- or B+, because they're really good. It's just you don't exactly trust Justin Tucker right now. You know what? I'm putting them in the top tier. I know that they've had kicking issues. I know they've had special teams issues. Lamar's playing at a high enough level for me, and the defense has been a lot better. You look at the game last week.
I'll go with your intuition there. I just worry.
I think they're behind those 4, but I think the defense has made tremendous strides these last couple weeks. They played a really good Philadelphia offense. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and the Eagles had a couple short fields after Tucker missed field goals, and the Ravens stonewalled them immediately, like 3 and out. And they played one whale of a game. I know they ended up allowing 24 points, and Barkley ended up over 100 yards, but that's the kind of game that if you recover a fumble or you don't give them a short field, or if Lamar just makes they had the Lamar like alligator armed a throw inside his 10. You had to punt. Philly gets the ball back at midfield, and it's like Philly felt like they were starting every drive at the 50. And Baltimore said, "Okay, this it felt a lot like the Chargers playoff game to me. That the offense put the defense the offense pulled the defense's pants down, and the defense had to figure out what to do. And the defense managed to figure it out. They managed to figure out they figured it out. I respect the heck out of the defense. Zach Orr has the guys balling out in recent weeks. I know they lost. I get it, but they lost to a team that's really, 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 really good. So I think Baltimore is in that group of excellent teams.
I just worry that a kicking mistake, if that issue still is around by the playoffs,
that's fair. Entirely fair.
It legitimately could cost you. I was thinking about maybe not saying it, but it actually kind of is not much of an exaggeration. That could cost you a game.
Yeah, that is. There's a stat going around, and this is a little unfair to everyone involved, but Justin Tucker in the Ravens losses has accounted for 22 missed points. The Ravens have lost those games by a combined 22 points. Again, that's not entirely fair, but those are points that matter. And we are
Every
at a
point
point
matters.
now. Yeah, we're at a point now that it feels like every kicker in the league can hit from 55 consistently. Joey Sly went out from 68 yards, and you thought in the back of your head he might make this kick.
Yeah,
He might make.
When that kick got close to the uprights, in my mind I was like, "Oh my god, that's got a chance."
Yeah, it's like, he might make this. Brandon Aubrey probably makes that kick. By the way, feels like Kaimi Fairbairn hits from 60 every week. It feels like, and it's just kickers are so good now that Justin Tucker is currently a liability. I will respect Justin Tucker. The unit, the snapper, the holder, the kicker. So Tucker is a third of that. They have issues. You gotta figure it out. You gotta figure it out. And if you don't
even on the
trust
PATs,
Tucker,
if you screw that up,
yeah. And if you don't trust Tucker, put it on Lamar. Put it on this offense. They have been incredibly gutsy going for it on fourth down. They have the Mark Andrews tush push play. They go for it on fourth down a lot, but if you have to play around Justin Tucker right now. You can't settle for kicks over 45 yards. You have to say, okay, if we are at the 32, it's 4th and 3, it's go for it territory. Or it's 3rd and 6, we don't need to pick up the first down. We need to pick up 4 so we can go for it. And I think that could be. And by the way, this is a good strategy. Regardless if your kicker is good or not, it's good strategy to be aggressive and go for points because
it is.
Like, you have Lamar Jackson.
I have seen, for my own example, I've seen the Rams lose some games in part because Sean McVay gets conservative on like 3rd down and 10 plus.
Right.
Like if it's longer than 3rd and 15, he'll run a bubble screen or something.
Yeah,
like
I mean a lot
like,
of that's a draw bubble.
Which I get that, but at the same time, it's like it's so frustrating when I'm seeing like the other team is like staying aggressive on 3rd. Like they'll get in a 3rd down situation like that, and they'll still take a shot downfield and try and draw PI or something like that. And it usually works. If you stay aggressive like that, it can keep you in a lot of football games.
Right. And my argument, people say they don't like when coaches go for it or they play conservative, play for the lead. And I'm thinking, what? I just wonder why. I just wonder why you want your team to score fewer points. I wonder why you want your team to be less exciting. I wonder why you want your team to not go for it, And I understand there's like a risk-averse tendency in all of us, and that's fine, especially if you're an NFL head coach and a bad decision could get you fired. Brandon Staley, several bad decisions could get you fired, but it just like entertainment value. I'd rather watch Lamar Jackson run around on 4th and 3 than watch Justin Tucker, and Justin Tucker's the greatest to ever do it in theory. I would rather watch 4th and 7 shenanigans than a punt, and I like punting, and I like Justin Tucker, but you have the 2-time MVP. If you're Buffalo, you have Josh Allen. If you're Kansas City, you have Patrick Mahomes. If you're the Lions and Eagles, you have these great offenses. See what the great offense can do. What's the point of having a great offense if you're going to punt on 4th and 4?
It's my least favorite visual in the NFL has been watching my team's quarterback walking off the field and taking their helmet, unclipping their helmet straps after failing to convert on 3rd down. And it's like it's like 4th and 2.
Yeah.
On the 33-yard line. On their own 33 or whatever, something like that. And they have to
It's like there's a time and a place for it, but I'm going to go back to it. One of the quintessential Ravens games, Ravens Chiefs 2021, Sunday Night Football in Baltimore. The Ravens lead by 1, 50 seconds to go, 4th and 1 in their own territory. If they convert, they win the game. If they don't convert, the Chiefs probably kick a field goal and they win the game. But guess what? If you punt, anything can happen on the punt, of course. The Chiefs still get a chance, and you're a bystander for that event. The Ravens said, "We knock on the door. We are the ones who knock."
Lamar who else did that?
Quarterback power, they win the game.
You know who else did that this week? Is Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions.
Yes, exactly.
They could have kicked the field goal on 4th down and what was it? 4th and 1.
4th and 1 from like the 30.
Yeah, something like that, and just kick the field goal there and put the ball back in Jordan Love's hands when the Packers offense had some kind of momentum, and they only would have needed a field goal to tie the game. And instead they decide, let's go for it, show some balls there in that moment, convert on 4th down, and they run out the clock, and Jordan Love never touches the ball again. So That's the logic behind it. If you think you can do it and you have an opportunity to keep the ball out of the other quarterback's hands, then by all means.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
All right. That was a lot on Baltimore. Pittsburgh.
We'll speed run through next.
Jack, I think I'm going to do it.
Are you going to put the Steelers at
I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to do it. I think they're a Super Bowl contender.
Watch them go lose out and go 9-8.
That was actually on the table.
Steeler thing ever.
After they lost to Cleveland, it's like they low key could lose out and beat Baltimore, of course, but they could low key lose out. Cincinnati's a tough team. They play Baltimore again. They'll win that game, but they play Houston, they do not play Houston. They play Kansas City, and they play Philadelphia. It's like they have a pretty tough last 6 games. They play Cleveland again. They just lost to Cleveland, so. But you right the ship. You beat Cincinnati. You're looking at a win over Cleveland, a win over Baltimore. That gets you to 11 wins. Then your last 3 games are Cincinnati again, Kansas City, and Philadelphia. That's probably 2 losses, Kansas City and Philadelphia, but I'll give them credit here. Russell Wilson has played really well since returning from injury. He has the offense rolling. TJ Watt has been unbelievable again. Cam Hayward, welcome back to being elite, buddy. You're in the All-Pro conversation. And they have a good secondary. Joey Porter loves holding. He just loves it. It reminds me a lot of Brandon Browner, for those of you who enjoy the Legion of Boom Seahawks. It's just grab. And it's sometimes he gets called. He's been called for 6 holding penalties this season, or he was called for 6 penalties on Sunday. The Steelers won the game. Shout out to Nate Herbig. He's excellent. The best 3rd banana in the NFL. And Alex Highsmith is probably the best 2nd banana in the NFL. It's just a really good defense. Lots of high-end talent. And then offensively, they're good enough. Russ to Pickens, that's a great duo.
That's a really good combination. Russ looks a lot better, you can definitively say, in Pittsburgh than he has in Denver.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes,
that helps that he kind of got out of his slump that he was in.
Yep. Najee Harris runs hard. Jalen Warren is good for a nice couple runs. He also is probably good for a fumble most weeks, but that's neither here nor there. I'm a little disappointed in Pat Freiermuth, but Darnell Washington is a big body guy that can make plays. Calvin Austin has had, I think, a touchdown each of the last 2 games. Just really speedy guy. They're mixing in Mike Williams now. So I think Pittsburgh is probably more of a B+ than an A-. If Baltimore's an A-, I think Pittsburgh is maybe a smidge behind. Unless they're playing each other, of course. We've been through this. Pittsburgh owns Baltimore. I got it. I understand. I watch all those games. But against everyone else in the league, I think Baltimore's a smidge better. Against, of course, if they play each other, that goes out the window. Cincinnati. Is it time, Jack?
Is it time to put the Bengals out to pasture?
Is it time? It might be time.
I feel like it's time.
The Bengals are down to a 2% chance to make the playoffs.
What's their record right now? I don't have
They're
every
4-8
team's record in front of me. 4-8.
They're 4-8. Even if they win, even if they beat Dallas, they should beat Dallas. They have a 4% chance of making the playoffs. They are.
I don't see it.
The issue is they are just so far out. And
I think I think we can still put them in regular season warriors. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I feel like they're competent enough to be above the maybe next year team too. I feel like, because they've got pieces. They've got Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. I mean, it's just tough because they got off to such a slow start again, and I feel like that's an issue for the Bengals that has been happening for quite a few years now. Is really ever since Joe Burrow came around, is the slow starts, and they're not really it's gonna be hard to consistently dig yourself out of a hole. Have to dig yourself out of a hole every year, and then as the season goes along, and you play your divisional games and things like that happen, there's always a chance for that hole to get even deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's bro, it just sucks because we know that they're capable of winning, but the hole that they're digging themselves into is just becoming really, really, really tough to climb out of. And it's tough to watch. They're a good team, but
you have so much talent. You have Chase, you have Burrow, you have Higgins, you have Chase Brown, who's been excellent this season. I even like their auxiliary pieces. This isn't a case of a team like sorry to pick on your Rams, but this isn't like the 2021 Rams that you have the all pros and then the scrubs. It's the all pros, and then you have good pieces behind them. Like I like Yoshifas. I like, in theory, Jermaine Burton. Yeah, Jermaine Burton. I like the tight ends that they have. And the offensive line's been fine enough. It's just the defense has been putrid. I know they allowed 2 defensive touchdowns against Pittsburgh. One of them was a little unfair. The receiver got pushed to the ground. Oh, no, I guess that was a Bengals pick 6. Never mind. They had a strip sack, fumble, touchdown. Okay, fair enough. Just the defense, man. They are getting just wrecked every week. So,
yeah. If your defense is getting wrecked like that week in and week out consistently, you're not winning games.
Right. So Cincinnati, to make the playoffs, basically has to win out. And they've been at that point the last couple weeks, and they lost to Pittsburgh. They lost to the Chargers, and these are frankly unacceptable losses at this point in the season. These are games you should be winning. They were favored over Pittsburgh. So, all right, let's move on. Falcons and Chargers. That was one of the games of all time.
Certainly one of the football games was played.
Kirk Cousins. I think it's time to have the conversation. Michael Penix should be playing football for the Falcons. There's no point to Kirk Cousins anymore. I'm sorry. 4 interceptions. One of them was a really bad play by the receiver. I understand. You can't not lose that football game at home. You can't. The Chargers gave you shot after shot after shot. They had a fake punt that they failed inside their 40. They immediately throw a pick. It was a disaster.
I'm going to put the Chargers on that note, just FYI, I'm going to put them in playoff pretenders because at this point they feel like I feel like they're capable of being a wild card team. But like I said, after they beat, what was it? What team did they beat? Not Cincinnati? Too long ago. Close. Yeah, Cincinnati. If they play better teams will take advantage of those mistakes the Chargers are making. They have a very good defense, but they are still making mistakes. And you saw it like with the Falcons too. Like they kept letting the Falcons right back into that game. A better team, like if they play a team like Buffalo or like Detroit or Kansas City or Philadelphia or Baltimore or Pittsburgh, like if you keep giving them those opportunities, they will take advantage of it. Anyway, Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Out to pasture, buddy. I know they are currently leading the NFC South over Tampa by tiebreaker. I think they're regular season warriors.
Tough.
Yep.
Tough scenes. Okay. I was looking forward to seeing how they would do with Kirk, but it just has not worked out. So maybe they knew something somehow, and when they drafted Penix. So.
I don't know. Washington, I would put them behind LA, the Chargers, that is. Good win to get back on track. They wrecked Tennessee. That game was 21-0 in like 5 minutes, and Tennessee never really had a shot. They had 2 fumbles inside their 25. So it was good to see Washington get back on track. You know, this isn't it. It's obviously you beat the Titans, and the Titans can go in the bottom tier, but just, man, I don't really know what to make of Washington. I think the offense is good. The defense needs pieces, and I think this is a team that could be really good next year, and a team that could beat the Eagles with a punch next year.
Yeah, I think they're a year out still from being like prime contenders, but I think Washington fans are just happy that they at least have a somewhat competent football team this year. Suffering through Mr. Snyder for God knows how long.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now they've got the ownership that cares, and the team they have a winning record. They're 8-5, and they've got a chance to do some damage still. So I still do think that they're a year out, but that means that they're kind of a year ahead of schedule. So it's good to see.
Fair. All right, Green Bay, top of the playoff contenders tier. Jordan Love gives them a chance every week. The defense is pretty solid. Josh Jacobs, shout out.
I was not familiar with your game.
Get 3 touchdowns on Thursday Night Football. I don't know what happened to Jaden Reed. Just a little goose egg, milk carton game for him on Thursday night. But I will say, the week before, impressive to knock out Miami. I know it's bad weather for Miami to play football in, but you took care of business against Miami. Miami has been, rock solid. By the way, on Miami, they have a 10% chance to make the playoffs. If they beat the Jets this week, it's up to 12%. If they lose, they're down to 2%. So unlikely, I will say, but there's not a.
I'll put them. I
It's
would
not
put
over.
Miami in like playoff hopefuls. They're a good team. They've just had injury problems all year from the jump, and it's like,
Mhm.
especially with like Tua too. Like it's nothing insignificant. So
Yeah, and the difference to me, Miami and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's probably better. Both teams have this. Like if you erase their seasons now and you play the last 5 weeks, and just random opponents, not exactly who they'd play. I would expect Miami to make the playoffs, and I would expect the Bengals to make the playoffs, just how they're playing these last few weeks. But Miami has an extra win over Cincinnati. That makes all the difference. That's the reason, Miami, assuming they beat the Jets, is 6-7. The Bengals, they have a game in Dallas this week, and if they win that, they're 5-8. They're still a game behind, right? So, and it's just a mathematical equation at this point. Miami has a better shot. They need help, of
Yeah.
course, but they have a better shot. They could finish 10-7. Cincinnati can only finish 9-8. So
who the hell knows?
yeah. All right, Minnesota. I'm blanking on who they played. They played Arizona. They had a nice comeback win.
They had a huge comeback win against Arizona, which shout out to them because that helps the Rams, obviously. And
I think Green Bay is better than Minnesota. I know the record doesn't say that. I know the head-to-head doesn't say that.
head.
Yes, exactly. I think Green Bay is better than Minnesota. This is a Sam Darnold thing. I'm sorry. Listen, if we are going to play the game that we're going to hold on to our priors until proven otherwise, we do it a lot of things. Oh, he's never going to win a championship. He hasn't won one yet. He's never going to win one. Oh, he hasn't won this. He's never going to win one. Oh, the Ravens never beat the Steelers. They're never going to beat them again, right? If we hold on to our priors, we are going to hold on to the prior that Sam Darnold is not good at football. So the Vikings, you are frauds for the moment still. So if we're going to be consistent, we're going to be consistent. Arizona, playoff hopefuls, ahead of Miami by a smidge, I think. I think Kyler has a higher ceiling than Tua. Miami's defense is better, but and I like the weapons in Miami a little bit more. But the weapons in Arizona, Trey McBride is awesome. Marvin Harrison, really good. James Conner, really good back. And Kyler, I think, can be a top 5 quarterback, depending on the week. Houston, they beat Jacksonville. Jacksonville throw them at the bottom.
I keep waiting for the Houston Texans, like the playoff contender Houston Texans that we thought we were going to get this year, and it still hasn't shown up.
I'd put them between LA and Washington. It's a really good defense.
It is.
They're going to make the playoffs. CJ Stroud is broken. Unfortunately, he needs 2 elite wide receivers to make a difference as opposed to just one. So I don't think Houston's very good.
I think we also need to touch on the Azeez Al-Shaair incident. What is this guy doing?
Okay.
Like,
I will admit, I agree with Tom Brady's point that quarterbacks slide and make themselves super vulnerable.
That's fair.
When you're sliding,
Jeez.
and you go down, your head is like only off the ground by a little bit, and if you get hit, your head's going to hit the ground. So
yeah,
it's not a very safe thing to do.
But at the same time, when the guy is already down, there is absolutely no need to just like bull rush him and truck him to the ground from like a head-on hit, helmet to helmet, like the way that Al-Shaair did. And yeah, that was a completely dirty and useless hit. And then as he's like getting up, he's trying to like yell at people and fight more people. There was like a shot on TV where like he flung his helmet off while he was being restrained by players and officials, and he was still trying to or coaches, whoever it was, and he was still trying to like yap at people or do whatever. And it's like, no, I don't think 3 games is enough, to be honest.
Yeah, that was really bad. That's not a football play. That's just bad. And I'm gonna actually rip on the Chiefs here for a minute. This is what Patrick Mahomes loves to do with the sideline. He likes to flirt with the sideline, like get up close to it, and not go out of bounds. And teams are like, well, if we hit him, he's gonna magically be out of bounds and we get a 15-yard penalty. If we don't hit him, he's gonna score a touchdown. So you're in this like horrible spot. And I'm not defending this hit by any means, but quarterbacks can really goad the defense into make like looking like that. It's the same reason in college football, the fake slide is banned after Kenny Pickett pulled it off. That you are tricking your opponent. This isn't like a fair trick. This is like, if you hit me, it's a penalty. If you don't hit me, I'm going to run by you. So there's not a win scenario, right? At least like a regular trick
the only like on the sideline thing, the only real win scenario is like you have to get somebody like directly in front of them so that they literally have nowhere else to go. So
right. Or you like softly tackle them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Or you like just
or like even still you like make contact with them out of bounds and it's a penalty. So it's just I get what you're saying. I'm just saying that kind of hit in a sense it doesn't really have any place in football. Like when in this specific instance too with Trevor Lawrence, he was already down and he got walloped after the play.
He got just destroyed.
Yeah. I seriously like I will say I don't think it was like on the level of like Myles Garrett literally swinging and hitting people with his helmet.
Do you remember the Flacco hit when Kiko Alonso just sent Flacco into the shadow realm? It was a Thursday night game, Miami-Baltimore. That is as hard as I've ever seen a quarterback get hit.
I think the hardest I've seen a wide receiver get hit was, I forget who delivered it. It was, I think, Emmanuel Sanders against the Rams.
He got diving out, and you're seeing just or the actually my personal favorite is Reggie Bush, rookie season against the Eagles. Little swing pass, Breeze just flips it out. Bush is running underneath it, and the secondary, the safety. It wasn't Brian Dawkins. If it was Brian Dawkins, we would have had Reggie Bush's funeral on the field right then and there. But just BAM! Was it Shelvin McKinn? Something like that. My sincerest apologies. Also, there was a time Richard Sherman absolutely wrecked Jared Goff.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was the better scenario.
That was his welcome to the league
like
moment. That was Goff's welcome to the league moment. That was like 2016, I think it was, on a Thursday night game. The season was already over. That was the week after the Rams fired Jeff Fisher.
And if Cam Chancellor got the hit, Jared Goff
would have
been pulverized.
He would not be the Goff for Stafford trade wouldn't have happened because Goff would not have been in the league. He would have been in a hospital eating his food out of a straw. Like,
and like Sherman's a big guy, and Sherman just whacked him too. But oh my heavens!
Oh jeez.
With all due respect to Jared Goff, he's a nice man, but he also has the funny clip of him as Willy Wonka. That's funny.
Oh god.
Oh my days. He would have been Cam Chancellor would have sent that man back to.
I would have been screaming on Twitter for a year. Maybe.
And it would have been a clean hit too. Cam could hit him clean, but
you know, I'm glad wasn't a hard hit was what's his name? Alex Smith came back from injury against the Rams in like week 5 of 2020.
And Aaron Donald
decided to jump on his back. So his fragile legs are holding up Aaron Donald. It's like, please don't break this man again.
Oh man, I could talk about like random hits forever. Like when Nate Clemens just cleaned Brady's clock the first game Brady played, or in the Pro Bowl when fake punt, Brad Maynard's running out to the right and Sean Taylor just delivers him straight to purgatory. So
I love talking about hard hits like that. Man. The hard and clean ones, of course. Yeah, if it's dirty, then I'll yell for the guy to get suspended.
Yeah, like the James Harrison against Mohamed Massaquoi. That was dirty, but that was a big hit.
Kirby Joseph on literally anyone right now. He keeps trying to spear people.
Yeah.
His helmet. He's like diving at their knees.
I forget. I think was it Ocho Cinco that got hit so hard over the middle by Ryan Clark that Troy Polamalu said prayers. He did the cross thing, and as the receiver's like lying lifeless on the turf because Ryan Clark just straight ballers straight. He could run and hit. Man, that's a shame that he had sickle cell and missed the Broncos playoff game. All right, speaking of the Broncos,
Broncos are a playoff pretender tier.
I think so. I think they're better than Houston. Oh, that's a fun conversation. I would take the Chargers. I think they are.
That'd be a fun game though. Right now,
that'd be a fun game. Yeah, that'd be a fun game.
I would take Sean Payton.
Okay, that's fair. I would take the Chargers. I think that's a good game. That would be a great.
Do they have one at some
Yeah,
point this
they
season?
play another game, I believe. That would be a good. You remember the Raider? Oh, we were on live stream for it. The Raiders Chargers game.
Yeah, we were.
That would
was
be a
fun
great
game to
Week
stream.
18 Thursday or Sunday night game. That would be a great one. I don't know if that's the Thursday or the Week 18 game, but that would be a phenomenal one if it was. Yeah,
I am
Denver's
gonna
Denver's
verify
defense
that.
got
That is
cooked.
that's a Thursday night game.
Okay.
I don't know what week that is, but that's a Thursday night game. So.
Okay, fair. Okay, that's gonna be a good game, I think. Denver, props to you. Don't let Sean Payton in the playoffs. I told you weeks ago. I told every single one of you they're gonna be in the playoffs. They're gonna be the 7th seed. They're gonna have to go to Buffalo. They probably lose that game, but Sean Payton, I don't know.
Sean Payton, and they're winning games, so anything's possible. They're 8-5, I think, right now.
Yeah, 8-5, tied for the 6th seed. All right, Denver beat the Browns. Browns maybe next year. Jameis, 497 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 2 pick sixes.
That is an all-time Jameis Winston stat line right there. That is prime, like peak Jameis Winston right there.
I love Jameis so much. He is 1960s brand quarterback playing in 2024. I love it. He has the quotes. It's sort of like if Joe Namath came out now. Just the confidence, the swagger, the aura, and he's going to throw a couple picks and a couple touchdowns.
God,
I just appreciate it.
Delivering me from these pick sixes. What a quote. And yet he can motivate the hell out of his team on the sideline.
Man. I would run through a wall for that man.
He's entertaining to watch. I'll put it that way. Is he the best quarterback in the league? No. Can he play very good?
No.
Yes.
He's better than Deshaun Watson. That's all.
Entertaining to watch. He can really screw your team, but he can also really like help your team too.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be entertaining to watch as a neutral. I think as a fan of that team, I would be in constant emotional roller.
Yeah, that's the anus clenched fan. Right there.
Exactly. When he's got the ball on 4th down.
Like, oh boy, what's happening here? But the thing is, something always happens, which is good.
Exactly. Never a dull moment.
Absolutely
that's kind of what I feel like rooting for the Rams every now and then. There's never really a dull moment with this team.
Yeah,
even if they'll like in 2022, everybody was hurt. They had the Super Bowl hangover, but they had the Baker Mayfield game.
Mm-hmm. So that was a wonderful game.
They've always got something up their sleeves.
And Baker nearly threw a pick six and ended the first play, but penalty and
PI and then Jerry Tillery being dumb, but
yeah. All right, Rams.
Playoff hopeful.
Yeah, they're right there with the Cardinals. This is like the Schrodinger's thing that it's the same thing with Baltimore and Pittsburgh, honestly, that the Cardinals won the first matchup, Pittsburgh won the first matchup. I think if you played them again, if you took away the logos, you took away the teams, you took away the coaches, and you just had the players, you had players that looked like Lamar Jackson but wasn't actually. If you had Jamar Laxton playing against
Russell
recreated
Wilson and Team Builder from Madden.
Yeah, like if you had, Soquan Ramith and
Padford.
Quatrick, how do I do that? Quatrick Reen. Those were your linebackers.
Work, sure.
And you had Faye Slowers, and you had Porge Jickens. Okay, great. Baltimore. The Baltimore equivalent team is probably a smidge better. The Rams equivalent team is probably a smidge better. But I know the Cardinals and the Steelers won the opening games or the first games of those series. I would like to give props to Jared Verse and is it also Jared Fisk or am I butchering his name? Braden Fisk. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, the Verse Fisk duo has been unbelievable. Like that's another Les Snead masterclass in the draft.
That was excellent. Good job. The Rams defense, I said it was the worst in the NFL. It is not the worst in the NFL. I can assure you of that. They've been playing much better of late. So good job.
I like the Emmanuel Forbes pickup on waivers. They need secondary help. I think that'll help a little bit. Maybe in a cornerback 2 role. He's obviously not going to be CB1, but they do need something on cornerback, and they're not getting it from the guys that they have right now. So.
Well, pal, I would just like to warn you, if you get the 7th seed and you have to go to Philadelphia, Emmanuel Forbes will allow 500 yards to A.J. Brown. Again.
That's what they said about Akella Witherspoon, and he got a pick.
I'm just saying, A.J. Brown, like that is ownership. That is like big boy, little boy type stuff over. That is like that is like not safe for work activity.
I think this team really just needs another this offseason cornerback has to be a need for this team.
Yes.
They've just had ever since the completely useless Ramsey trade.
Hey, do you want Trey White back?
No.
I haven't seen him. I don't know if he played.
He is not a Ram right now. So well,
he's a Raven.
Yeah, he's a Raven, and I don't really know. I think Trey Wright's career was kind of been derailed by the torn Achilles. It was a concern when he came over here. I was worried about that, and sure enough, it became enough of a concern where they bring back Ahkello Witherspoon, and he's been kind of on the sideline a lot lately. So they had that's the thing about Emmanuel Forbes is they did a good job by like looking outside the organization for help.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it just reached the point where that had to happen. None of these cornerbacks are necessarily like terrible, but they're not necessarily game changing either. Like they don't have a lockdown CB1 like they did with Jalen Ramsey.
Right.
So I feel like that's kind of the missing piece on this defense.
Mm-hmm.
I will say Christian Roseboom has been playing a lot better ever since they brought unfortunately Troy Reeder got hurt. He might come back, but I think they should activate John Johnson instead. But yeah, the Roseboom and Reeder combo was not working, and then they started playing Omar Speights instead of in his place, in Reeder's place, and Roseboom has been playing lights out alongside Omar Speights ever since then. So offensively too, I think they've made a couple good adjustments in the second half of the Saints game. The first half, I don't know what the hell happened. That was the first time in the regular season under Sean McVay they've been shut out in the first half.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Yeah, then they go out and score in the first possession of the second half. They make the one adjustment they need to. Mm-hmm. They mix Blake Corum. That's what they should do, honestly. I think they get Blake Corum a little bit more involved. You get a bit of a split between him and Kyren Williams. You got a good one-two punch in the backfield. And as long as you have Matthew Stafford, as long as you have Puka Nacua, as long as you have Cooper Kupp, even Demarcus Robinson has looked pretty solid too.
Yeah,
Stafford under center especially, you're going to win games.
We can throw the Saints on the bottom too, by the way.
Yeah, with Taysom Hill out, it's kind of Jover for New Orleans.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Kamara's good at least. He played a good game.
They have some pieces. It's just New Orleans desperately. I've argued this with Pittsburgh for a while, but Pittsburgh is somehow like just fended off all their time. The Saints really need to suck. They really desperately just need to be garbage for like 3 years. Just clear out all the bad contracts, clear out all the dead cap, clear out Mickey Loomis, go take a hike. Like obviously come back because you're a phenomenal general manager, but go take a hike for 3 years. Go get like a Bounty Gate scandal. Just have a fake scandal, leave for 3 years, come back and figure it out again. Because boy, this team sucks. Boy, this team is expensive. Boy, those things should not go together. So just suck for a couple years. Get Arch Manning, the local. Well, I guess he's sort of local. Because his grandfather played for your franchise. Get the legacy quarterback Arch Manning here next year, I believe, maybe in 2 years, and go from there and rebuild this organization because you are in bed with the cap, and that's not good here. This is like,
it's one thing to be stuck in like a mediocre situation where it's like you're not good enough to make the playoffs, but you're not bad enough to get a high draft pick. But it's a completely other situation when you're stuck like that and your team isn't good.
Right, like at least with Pittsburgh, it's like they're going to win 9 games every year. Like this year, they're better than that. I'll be honest, but like the last couple of years, it's like okay, they're going to win 9 games, or in the 16-game era, they're going to go 8-8. But they're not going to be good enough to make the playoffs or do anything in the playoffs. But they're not bad enough to like get high leverage players. The Saints are in the same spot, except they suck. They could get some high leverage players, but you're still paying guys, so your roster is like really full on meh. So
yeah, I don't know how many contract outs they have or something, but they're gonna have to have like a 22-23 Rams style exodus where just
they need like 50 rookie free agents to come in.
Yeah, you have to let go of a lot of familiar names in order to make things better for the long term.
Yep. All right, Seattle. The play of the week across the entire NFL, perhaps the play of the year, Leonard Williams 91-yard pick six.
Oh my
against
goodness.
His former team, at his former stadium, tips it to himself, catches 91 yards. This man is a defensive tackle. He's fastest speed by a defensive tackle since 2019. Play of the year. I would put the Seahawks behind the Chargers, ahead of Houston. Mike McDonald has those boys playing defense, like real, actual defense. It's like not quite Legion of Boom, of course, but both safeties are playing out of their mind. You have Witherspoon, you have Woolen at corner. You're getting a pass rush, and then Geno Smith, man, he like finds a way to win. So I respect it. I trust him a little bit more than CJ Stroud right now, and I don't think Seattle is like that much better than the Rams or Cardinals, but they are 7-5. They are like trending up while the Rams are kind of stuck in neutral. The Cardinals are trending down. The 49ers are trending down. The Jets are bottom tier, by the way.
Yeah, I don't. The Jets, what a disaster. I don't think it matters where we put them, to be honest.
No.
Yeah,
any team in the bottom group. Well, San Francisco and Cleveland and Chicago for that matter. They're like a tier of their own. They just have dug themselves too much of a hole for it to matter. So, yeah. Tampa Bay. Playoff hopeful. I would put them at the top of the playoff hopeful tier. They just got screwed like 5 weeks in a row. They had overtime games. They played, Baltimore, Kansas City, and Atlanta twice, and San Francisco, like all in 5 weeks. They lost all 5 of those games, and it's like, this team, are they good? It's like, yes, they're very good. They just happened to lose to 5 teams that were better than them at the time.
So they did beat Carolina, though.
Yeah, they did beat Carolina. Big time Baker Mayfield drive. Good job. Also, shout out to Bryce Young. Bryce Young has played a lot better. Bottom tier still, but he's playing a lot better.
I'm gonna put them like at the top of like the really bottom team, like that's below Cleveland, San Francisco, Chicago. Shout out to Adam Thielen for a catch of the year candidate.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I like people.
Big moment, had to have it.
People are thinking maybe, of course, the what was it, the Air Garrett moment when he did the Air Jordan and he made that catch. That was a crazy catch too. But on the third down, like a diving catch with one hand. Mm-hmm. You're like outstretching your one hand and you pull it in.
That was nice.
It's insane.
Love it.
That was just ridiculous. But it sucks how they like fumbled the ball away and on like a couple plays later and lost the game. So,
all right, Indianapolis. Indianapolis is currently the 8th seed. They have a 28% chance to make the playoffs. They're on bye this week. I guess I'd put them probably behind Miami in the playoff hopeful tier. If, a 1-4 shot, give or take, to make the playoffs. I would like to give some props to Anthony Richardson. This has been a rough season for him. The Colts are below 500, so it's been a rough season for Indianapolis as a whole. But he could have been discouraged. He got benched for Joe Flacco in the year of our Lord 2024. Joe Flacco was drafted in 2008. It doesn't work exactly like this, but Joe Flacco was playing college football when Anthony Richardson was in diapers. It was that long ago. He was at Pitt, I think, at the time. And Anthony Richardson said, okay, I'm not going to take this as disrespectful. I'm not going to take this as they hate me. I'm going to take this as this is an opportunity for me to grow. And the last couple of weeks, he's gone out and delivered the Colts 2 big wins. They go out, beat the Jets because Anthony Richardson lays it out all on the line, and they beat the Jets. And then Sunday, they go into New England. New England has been a bugaboo for the Colts for decades with the whole Brady Peyton thing. And Anthony Richardson said, all right, we're going to go win this football game. And not only are we going to go tie the football game, we're going to go win the football game. We're going to go get the 2-point conversion. So absolute props to the Colts. I don't think they make the playoffs this year, but absolute props to them. Absolute props to Anthony Richardson. Grown man season this season.
Even if they don't come close, even if they do come close, and they don't make it, what you do in those kind of games matters too. Like what you do to show like the league and other teams, maybe even too. It's like, obviously I don't think Anthony Richardson is going anywhere, but it's like when you play in games like that and you have that winning attitude, that can leave a good, you can resonate well with head coaches when you do that.
You showed your fortitude right there. You showed when the season is on the line, we should win this game. We should beat the Jets. We should beat the Patriots. We're better than those teams. The Patriots are bottom tier. You said, okay, not only are we going to win this game, I am going to be the reason why. I am taking responsibility for this. I am taking ownership of the situation, and I will deliver my team, the victory. And that's what Anthony Richardson has done the last couple weeks. They're not going to catch Houston. They're down 2 with 4 to play, and Houston holds a tiebreaker, so Houston could clinch as early as next week, I believe. I don't think that happens because Houston's not very good, but regardless. So, and then these last three teams, the Patriots bottom tier, although I respect the heck out of Joey Sly trying from 68. That was
barely shorted it, but he
gangster.
almost
Yeah,
made it.
barely. Dallas, what a lost year.
Raiders
Just a lost year. And then the Giants, bottom of the barrel.
I'm going to move the Cowboys up a little bit. But
Drew Lock is kind of fun. It's like kind of Jameis Winston-y, but like less volatile, like a more. So if Jameis is like the entire spectrum, like 0 to 100, Drew Lock is like 0 to 70. Okay, I'll give him credit. 0 to 80. He had that really gangster drive against Philly to come back and beat him. I think last year he was unbelievable. Just boop, 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 touchdown Seahawks. That was unbelievable. I love the moments like that when an unheralded player makes the big play, has the big sequence. That actually transitioned into one minor talking point. How do you feel about Major League Baseball looking at the golden batter rule?
Yeah, let me get this off the screen really quick. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard about in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Like just straight up the dumbest thing. Like it's even more dumb than when Rob Manfred called the Commissioner's Trophy a piece of metal. Yeah, no, just don't. Basically, so for those who don't know, the rule is basically saying that like at any like the Dodgers, let's say they're at like the middle of the order right now and they're losing and it's 2 outs, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, middle of the order. They can basically say, screw it, let's have Shohei Ohtani come up to bat.
Screw it, let's have Freddie Freeman come up. Or let's have Mookie Betts come up.
Mookie Betts. Or just like they can basically pick and choose who they want to come out of the dugout and take the last at bat. This is basically like the equivalent of the NBA having a rule where the Warriors could stop the game in the final second and basically let's have Steph Curry take a wide open 3 with no time left to win the game.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration.
Okay, fine.
Basketball, you can drop a play for someone. Football, you can drop a play for someone. Hockey,
sure, but you get what I'm saying though. It's like
it would be like penalty kicks.
Yeah.
And you just instead of having to have your order like 1 through 11 to start, you can just pick anyone. You can have a guy go again.
That's the Olympics. That's why TJ Oshie had his big moment
in the
Olympics. Because their rules basically say you have to choose the first 3. Like you have to have an order for the first 3, and then you can just spam the same guy over and over again.
That is the most second most American thing of all time. First being the Jason Lisak comeback against France in the 2008 Beijing Olympics. That is the most American thing of all time. Second is probably the hot dog eating contest. Third is
Miracle on Ice with like a word, but sure.
That's a good one. Ranking, we should do that for
the best Olympic moments.
Yeah, ranking American the most American moments. Also, the world famous McDonald's getting just destroyed at the 1984 Olympics.
Yeah, we've talked about that on the show way back then. But yeah,
that was a throwback. Yeah.
The Olympics are going to be in LA in a couple of years, so maybe
I will be there.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yes. Hey, we could do a live show. That'd be cool.
We could try. I want to try to go to a flag football game. That would
be sick. That'd be sick. So I'm learning in my old age that I should go to these sporting events. So that brings me to my final point. I don't have much more to say. You'll know the result of this game by the time the show posts. If the Boise State Broncos defeat the University of Nevada, Las Vegas Rebels tonight at Albertson Stadium, 8:00. If they win that game, I will be at the college football playoff. I will be there. I don't care if it screws my finances over for 10 years. I will be there. That is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I will be there. If they lose, I will be so depressed, which is kind of par for the course right now, but that's okay. But if they win, hopefully they do, I will be there. I don't care if it's in Atlanta or in Phoenix or New Orleans or in Pasadena. If it's in Pasadena, I might have to swing by Jack's place. But if Boise State wins, I will be there. If they lose, I will be depressed. But if they win, all I want for Christmas is money to go to that game. All I want for Christmas is to go to that game. I know they're going to lose. they're going to probably play Tennessee or Texas after Texas loses to Georgia, or Penn State. Or they're going to play someone. They're going to lose. Probably Ashton Genty's going to run for like 4 yards. But I'm going to be there. I'm going to enjoy the pageantry. I've never been to a Boise State football game. Hopefully that's the first.
He's got his dream planned out right in front of him, folks. Yeah, I guess my last point is I'm just hoping that the LA Galaxy take care of business tomorrow. It's the MLS Cup final, or they just call it MLS Cup, but it is basically the final. The turnaround this team has had is absurd, because a year ago we're talking about fan boycotts. We're talking about a president who has absolutely no idea what he's doing. He only cares more about the brand of the team and like stuff like that than whether or not they're actually winning games in the field. He really just like people were boycotting until he got fired. We're talking about maybe the head coach doesn't know what he's doing. The players aren't really buying in or whatever, something like that. It was just a disaster left to right, up and down, no matter how you slice it. Team couldn't get out of 13th place. And now that a year later, they're in the MLS Cup final. They were a play away from getting the 1 seed in the West too, which is absurd. Mm-hmm. Not that it matters anymore, but yeah, really, really, really hoping that they can take care of business against the New York Red Bulls on tomorrow morning. So looking forward to that. It's going to be tough because the Galaxy don't have Ricky Puig. He's their best player far and away, but they're 3-1-1 when they have not had Puig this season so far. So,
all right, reasonable shot for him. All right, good luck to your Galaxy. Good luck to my Broncos.
Indeed. Ladies and gents, I believe that's all we got. Blake Snell became a Dodger, actually, too.
Yeah, good job. The Dodgers deferred payment. Actually, breaking news. The Dodgers have signed Jesus of Nazareth to a contract.
So I've heard. I've heard that they're deferring $1 billion until the year 10,000 AD.
Yes, the year the year Revelations happens. That's going to be the year all the payments are due.
Indeed. All right.
I need to up my Bible history, but that's okay. Anyways, enjoy the day. Please, Boise State. I am begging you to ruin my. I am begging you to ruin my finances. Please ruin my finances. Please make me have to pay for a ridiculously overpriced hotel.
It will be worth it. I promise you.
Pay for an Uber. Please.
Actually, I know you're hating the financial projection here.
No, I'm not hating it at all. I want it to happen.
Yeah, but that's what I'm gonna say is like it doesn't matter when you pay money to see stuff like that. It's worth it every time. So, best of luck to Boise State.
And hopefully Ashton Genty wins the Heisman. I don't think it happens because Travis Hunter. It's just a bummer, man, that you get a generational running back season and then you have a generational two-way season. It's just unfortunate. It's sort of like the Judge Ohtani 2 years ago when Judge hit 62 home runs and Ohtani had a historic two-way season, but Judge hit 62 home runs. Kind of the inverse of that. So Ashton Genty for Heisman. Boise State, please win tonight.
All right, ladies and gents. That's going to do it for episode number 103 of the Sports Desk. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. I think now that Splash has his permanent setup, we're finally going to start getting into some of this like other content that we keep talking about and never actually doing. Yep. We're going to look into that a whole lot more now. Follow us on Twitter /X at the links below. Sports Desk 99 Splash. Follow me. That is going to do it for right now. And as always, Super Bowl champion Aaron Donald trains with knives. We'll see you guys next week. Also, ring the bell. Ring a ding ding the Le'Veon bell.
Ring a ding ding the Le'Veon bell, that notification bell, so you can get notified when we don't go live because we haven't done that in a while. But the next time
when we upload stuff,
when we upload, you'll get it. Yes.
All right. Later, guys.